I can see it now, she says nervously. Her big blue eyes stare over you out the window. I can see the rain now. It wasn't raining before, was it? You pretend to be asleep. Rise and fall. Rise and fall. You force yourself to take big, deep breaths. Breaths like the ones Arya takes the time she's fallen asleep faster than you. You let out a little sigh, a sleeping sigh, and pray it wasn't too dramatic. Arya's sitting up. She had been asleep, but then the storm started. Probably woke up to the sound of sky crackling in half and booming as it broke. Not literally, of course, but by the thundering growls outside, it sure sounded like it. Iris. Arya's small hand taps your shoulder. Iris, are you asleep? You choose not to answer. Your eyes are closed, but you can still feel her eyes on you in the way most sisters can. She's watching for a twitch of an eye, a flick of a wrist, and you won't give it to her. A thunder rolls past the yellow flowered curtains, lightning filling up the night sky like flying electric eels. Squinting your eyes the little bit, you see shadow dancing. The room and the world outside the window looks eerie and dark. The clouds cover the moon, but sometimes they shift to let it slide through. The soft glowing wild rays illuminate the walls and the object in the messy bedroom, filling places that shouldn't be filled with a sheet of ghostly white. The storm and the night work together to play tricks on your eyes, on your mind. You see a shape flick past you, to your right, or maybe you don't. You hear a howling in the distance, or maybe you don't. A hill to the west, not visible through the small window, but there, nonetheless, would make a perfect place for a howling at the moon. A perfect place for dangerous night things. A perfect place for fear. But you're 13 years old. Storms don't scare you. You studied them in school, studied the patterns and formations, and you've lived on this farm all your life, lived near the hill to the west, and you've never seen a dangerous night thing. Yet. A small hum comes from your side, light and height and worried, a siren or a little girl. You remember Arya next to you, in truth you never forgot. You feel her weight shift as she lays back down, seemingly giving up on the thought of waking you. Now that she could, you like to consider yourself the best fake sleeper there is. 7 years of sharing a bed with Arya does that to you. You wait until you hear her breathing slow, hear her whimpers resolve. You turn slowly on your side, facing her, silently hoping she's really asleep. Or even in that land between sleep and waking, that land fed with tunnels of light and explosions of dreaming particles. You like that feeling, the feeling of feeling half asleep, half awake. You like feeling like time has frozen in place. You feel safe there, in that land so close and yet so far away. You hope Arya feels safe there too. Her little body is curled on itself. She holds a small bundle, a bundle of rags, a bundle called rags, a bundle called love. Her young plump fingers squeeze the tighter and tighter and tighter, unflinching, clenching, because it seems she's still awake, it seems she hears the thunder. Though her eyes are closed, she must see the bright flashes of lightning behind her lids. That's all right. You used to worry that you subconsciously sleeping Arya. You like awake Arya better, normally, but maybe not now. Not an hour past midnight. She looks so peaceful, even if she's only faking sleep. And then the thunder cries louder than it has before. The ground seems to rumble. The ceiling fan swings ever so slightly, casting a dancing shadow, a large bird flying in a dim light. Arya's eyes fly open. A death grip on Rux loosens, and she reaches her small arm to you. She needs you. Iris, a little voice, the voice of a bumblebee, Mother says, calls you. The storm. She cries. Rax is scared. Rax is scared. Of course Rax is scared. Rax is a bundle of rugs. If you were a bundle of rugs, you'd be scared too. Fine, fine. She wants you awake. You both had been fake sleeping. You both knew it. You went to sleep, and neither was she. What, Ari? Your voice comes out more crackly than you thought it would. What can I do to help Rax feel better? A roaring thunderous boom. Arya sits bolt upright. Her hair is sticking up at all angles, and you would laugh if she didn't look so terrified. Rax wants a story. Can you tell him a story, Iris? She says. Ari, it's late. Later than late. I'm not sure if a story's a good idea. Please. All right, one story, and then Rax will stop pestering me and go to sleep. She bobs her head full of straw-coloured hair, up and down, up and down. Once upon a time, you start, there lived two sisters. One of them, the older one, was called Isabel, and the younger one was named Addie. And they were pirates. They lived on a boat called the Dangerous Night thing. But they called it TNT for short. Yeah, the TNT. Anyway, the two sisters were princesses. Excuse me. They were princesses, right? Weren't the princesses, Iris? Well, I told you they were both pirates. That's their thing. They can have two things now. Can't they be pirate princesses? Pirate, oh fine. Let me keep going though. The two pirate princesses sailed the 7 seas with the TNT, and they fought sea monsters for a living. Not because they liked to really, but because fighting sea monsters was a stable job with a good hourly pay. And this one night, they were fighting a big sea monster with tentacles. It was like a giant octopus, if a giant octopus was neon orange. And they had one eye, one big glaring blinking eye, and it could swallow a whole fishing boat with one gulp. A bit like how you ate your potato salad yesterday. But it couldn't eat the TNT because the TNT was as big as it was. It would be like you trying to eat a motorcycle, if you were the size of a motorcycle. But yeah, Isabel, Iris, her name was Isabel. You give Arya the stink eye. No, you say, I'm telling the story, and I say her name was Isabel, but she went by Isabella sometimes too. She shrugs. Keep going. That's all there is to it. They were fighting a sea monster in the TNT, and they were winning. The end. That's not a very good story. I know. Then make it better. You cross your arms. How? Act it out. Arya's little bottom lip pounds out. She seems to have forgotten about the storm outside. Good. You'll keep it that way. All right. Let's say the bed is the boat. See that chair? That's a lifeboat, and the ceiling fan is the seagull. The thunder clapped outside. Arya leaned closer to you. Rags doesn't like the thunder, Iris, she says softly. Well, tell Rags that's not thunder. That's just a sea monster rowing so we bravely vanquish. Arya's front twists and flips until it turns into a grin. I can tell him that. So we are fighting it, the sea monster, right now? Yep, you're winning too. And looking out in the bedroom, you let yourself imagine. You haven't in a long time, but you do now. The carpet dissolves into black ocean. Your guitar in the corner tangles into a school of piranhas. They have to be piranhas, obviously. Arya's soccer ball becomes the TNT anchor, slowly sinking. Arya's soccer ball becomes the TNT's anchor, slowly sinking, so that you can keep fighting the monster. Oh, the monster. It rolls and growls and hisses. It gets louder every few seconds and dies down as you stab it with your sword. Side by side, you and Arya take on the beast. But the roaring gets louder, louder than any living thing could get. And the carpet turns to carpet again, and the guitar and the soccer ball become just that. And you and Arya find yourselves squatting on the bed together, facing the monster that never existed. A powerful crash of thunder. Iris. Arya's bumblebee's voice squeaks. I don't want to be on that boat anymore. Rags is scared. Tell me another story. And you do, because you want to feel that feeling again, the feeling you get when you imagine that everything dissolves into something better. You want to feel alive. This time, the story started in a jungle. Not just a jungle cave. Two super smart and brave scientists, ladies, are there together, studying the rare one-footed dart frog. The frog lives on trees, but will squirt poison at you through its eyes if it sees you. So that's why you're hiding in the cave and in the jungle. It never rains or thunder, ever, never, ever. But Iris, Ira interrupts, how are the trees if it never rains? So smart, that one. Well, you say quickly, the trees get their water from the underground river. Where's the cave for us? She asks. Under the bed, of course. Ready to go? And together you crawl under the bed. It's warm and stuffy and it's cramped because you seem to have grown since the last time you were there. But a jungle cave is warm and stuffy and cramped too. That pile of clothes, that's a rare berry bush called the shadow berry. The lamp is the tree we're watching. And that stain on the lamp from when I spilled my chocolate milk is the one-footed frog. It looks asleep, but it's only faking. Iris stares at the frog. You can hear the tropical birds calling to each other from high above. And then you hear a scratching sound, like a fingernail against the blackboard, but it's not, obviously. No, it's the big oak outside the window dragging its branches across the glass. Oh, it might be the spookiest sound you've heard all night. Arya shivers beside you. She's not looking at the stain, or the lamp, or the pile of dirty clothes anymore. She's looking out the window at the dark silhouette of the branch, like a witch's hand dragging on the sill. And before you can stop her, Arya's squirming out from under the bed, rags in hand. In a flash, she jumps under the covers and pulls the quilt over her eyes. You hear her ragged breathing coming from beneath the fabric. It takes you longer than it took her, but you join her on the bed. Arya, you ask quietly. I don't want to be in a cave anymore, she says. Rags is scared. Tell a different story. It's late, and you're starting to feel tired. The adrenaline from studying the poison-shooting jungle frog is wearing thin. I think we need to get some sleep. Rags do. This affects her instantly. I can't, she cries. If Rags talked, he would be crying too. You rub your temples, but you have an idea. Fine. One more story. Once upon a time, there was a little girl. This little girl wasn't a pirate or a princess or a scientist. She didn't live on a boat or in a jungle cave. She lived in a little house on a farm with a hill to the west. And she was sitting on a bed with a blue quilt. And she was holding a ball of kitten rags wadded together. She called it bugs. Arya's eyes narrowed. This girl sounds a lot like me, and Bug sounds a lot like Rugs. I don't know what you're doing, Iris, but whatever it is, stop it. You go on. And it's storming outside. But here's the thing, the little girl and her bundle of bugs, loved storms. And so she walked up to the window and looked out. And she saw God. Well, maybe not God, but she saw something that looked like God. She saw little drops of silver falling from the sky in smallest drops. Where had those drops been before? She saw a flash of bright light, like a ray of sunshine, only faster, quicker, smarter, filling the night sky with a powerful blanket of 1,000 stars. She saw the fingers of a motherly oak stroking the windows, and she heard the most spectacular sound, like 1,000,000,000 moments of laughter, all bundled up together, like a collection. It was awesome, and the little girl just sat there for the rest of the thunderstorm with bugs by her side, and she watched, and she listened, and she felt so small, but she felt good, because there was so much out there, so much awesomeness, and the storm reminded her of that. And then, after she got really, really tired, she went to sleep. And because she was asleep, her big sister felt safe and secure, and her big sister kissed the little girl's cheek and kissed Bugs. Well, kissed on the Bugs' rags and went to sleep too. The end. You cleared your throat and sat in a moment of silence. Was Arya asleep? You turned to face her. No, she was awake. She wasn't looking at you though, and she wasn't looking at the bed. She was looking out the window at the rain, the lightning, the oak branch rubbing the window, and the thunder boomed loud and powerful and good, and she didn't hide. She didn't curl closer to you. She just held Rugs a little tighter and kept watching. And she didn't say a word. She just sat there. And you sat there. But oh, were you tired? Slowly, ever so slowly, you lay down. You closed your eyes, you fell asleep. Later, you awoke, but not really. You were half awake and half asleep. Maybe your eyes opened and maybe they didn't. But in the next morning you could have sworn you had seen Arya still watching the window, a small smile playing on her lips. Hours passed and then you woke up for real. It was still dark outside, the storm was over. Water droplets were racing each other down the window. Arya was next to you. fast asleep. You leaned over and kissed her forehead, and then you kissed Rugs. And you lay down next to your little sister and let yourself drift off into a world of your own creation. You dreamt of pirate princesses and neon orange sea monsters, of explorers and poisonous fake sleeping frogs. And you dreamt of new things, wonderful, crazy things, until